Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Dual Destinies. Previously, we had a good talk with Aura Blackquill, Simon's older sister. I think it was older. Yeah. If Simon is edgy, Aura is angsty. Let's put it that way. And then we had some deeper insight into how Apollo's mind is working. The poor dude is going his own way to find the truth. Because, well, I think I can infer that Apollo may be suspecting Solomon Starbuck, our defendant here. He's not on screen right now, but just our defendant. And then the trial began. It's Director Yuri Cosmos of the Space Center. He's saying that he was with Candace Arm, the police bomb squad specialist, and they saw the potential murderer in the dark. He's saying that Candace pulled out her gun and fired 2 shots. But I think that's inherently absurd. Why would she ever do that during the emergency bombing situation? She should be focusing on evacuating people. Why would she walk into a room, see someone in the dark, and immediately think they were a murderer and start firing on them? And to that end, we're getting a new testimony, so let's continue. Detective Arm and I rushed to the control room together. In the lounge, we saw a figure standing in the middle of the room and tearing on the floor. We were still in the control room to the east when the figure fired at us. Oh? Given that there was no third person in the lounge when the witness entered it, does this mean the person who fired the gun had to have been the defendant? Not necessarily. It's still possible that it was someone else. Most likely, as soon as Detective Arm and Director Cosmos discovered this person, they escaped through the southern door, the one that didn't have a security lock.
Objection!
Double-edged swords are a tricky lot. Mishandle one and it is you who is cut down. Huh? Your reasoning could apply if Spaceboy were the killer as well. Think about it. After being discovered, he could have fired the 10 caliber gun. Detective Arm would have responded by firing 2 warning shots. All he had to do was feign unconsciousness and to invent the possibility of a third person.
Objection!
But Mr. Starbuck didn't have a gun in his possession when he was found by police. Nor has a gun been found at the crime scene. Its absence can only be explained if there was a third party who took it with them.
Objection!
That's a good point. Recall the existence of a trash chute in the boarding lounge. What? The defendant could have simply thrown the gun down the chute.
Objection!
How could he have time to do that? But you can't deny the possibility of a third person leaving with the weapon.
Objection!
It's up to you to prove that possibility. And I trust you haven't forgotten my little piece of decisive evidence. What evidence? Why, the detonator switch that was found in Mr. Starbuck's pocket, naturally. The most compelling evidence of all that tells us he is the culprit. Ah! I did forget all about that. I did too. Look, your baldness, how deliciously obvious it is that they lack the evidence to rival mine. Wow, he sliced our third-person theory to ribbons and served it to us just like that. Yes, well, I have a question of my own, actually. That bullet that the mysterious figure shot, what did it hit exactly? Whoa, it hit me. So does that mean you're a ghost? What? Come on. I was wondering when you would realize it, your baldness. Director Cosmos is an authentic, bona fide ghost. He can even pass through walls. What? Eek! He's got jokes. Prosecutor Blackquill, shame on you for teasing the nice old gentleman. Your baldness, it was all in jest. Please show yourself again. Are you sure? In that case, how did you manage to survive being shot, Director Cosmos? Ha ha ha! I'm glad you asked. It was a miracle befitting a great history-making figure such as myself. The bullet hit my glorious Medal of Honor, whereby it ricocheted, thus saving my life. Oh my god. It was there the whole time. I see it. What? That's unbelievable. I have to check this out. Oh, wow. Look at that, there's one extra Gyaxa star. It looks like the bullet's still lodged in it. It's just flattened on it in a star pattern. Huh. I think the bullet's still there. I don't think it ricocheted at all. I think it's just embedded on that metal. The odds are literally astronomical. I guess it really was a miracle. It's beginning to really feel like the Cosmos is watching out for Director Cosmos. But why did you conceal this information, Director Cosmos? A great man such as myself has to hide things on occasion, no matter how much it hurts. It is the plight of the truly great. It may be hard for this generation to understand. I don't know, but it sounds fishy to me. What else is he hiding? Let's just cross-examine him and see what we can find out. Now then, Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, please. All right. Detective Arm and I rushed to the control room together.
Hold it!
We've already heard all about that part. Don't you have any new information? Well, let me see. If you have an hour or two, I could tell you all about the Hat One miracle.
Hold it!
We already know all about that too. Tell us about something related to this incident. I see. You want to know about incidents. Well then, let me tell you about the many incidents that made me the man I am today. Yes, if you have the time, I will tell you all about the upbringing of this great man.
Hold it!
You've told us all about that already as well. What we need now is your testimony. Did I really already tell you all about my upbringing? I don't recall doing so. Director Cosmos, perhaps you could save your boastful tales for later. If I must. Well, we peeked in through the control room door and... in the lounge, we saw a figure standing in the middle of the room and tearing on the floor.
Hold it!
But it was so dark, you couldn't see this figure's face, isn't that right? Yes, the room was as deep and dark as outer space itself. Speaking of outer space, during the Hat One launch 7 years ago. If it's about that Hat One miracle again, you can sod off and tell it to the stray mutt. Haha, excellent idea. No reason why the animal world shouldn't hear of my greatness. And so they shall. But first, your testimony. What happened next? We were still in the control room to the east when the figure fired at us.
Hold it!
So in other words, you were fired at while you were at the control room door. That is correct. There's something not quite right about that. Director Cosmos, the bullet this person fired hits you, isn't that right? Yes, it was a miracle. A miracle befitting a great history-making figure such as myself. The bullet the figure fired hit me while I was in the control room. But as the Cosmos would have it, the bullet bounced off my glorious Medal of Honor. In that case, the bullet should have wound up somewhere around the control room door. Okay, so Director Cosmos was in the control room to the east. And while he was there, he was shot at by someone with a 10 caliber gun. But the bullet hit his metal. No, but the bullet hit his metal, so he was able to escape with his life. He's a very lucky man. No wonder people think he's great. Hey, I'm pretty lucky myself, so if he's a great man, then I'm king of all the cosmos. Okay. Alright, so it's just the 3 messages, huh? Well, the 10mm bullet hole... The 10 caliber bullet was found at the south wall.
Objection!
Director Cosmos, I believe you are telling this great court a glorious lie. A great man like me tell a lie? Have you ever heard of such a thing in all of history? Oh, brother. My accusation is based on the positions of the people who were in the lounge. According to your testimony, you and Detective Arm were near the control room door, and the mystery figure was standing in the middle of the boarding lounge. If, as you say, the figure fired a gun at you from this position, then the bullet would have traveled in this direction. However, we found the 10 caliber bullet here. Oh. This trajectory and where the bullet was actually found contradict each other. Director Cosmos, where were you really when you were being shot at? Gah! Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the human merry-go-round.
Objection!
Oh, what now? Don't tell me you've forgotten already. Didn't the witness himself just tell you? The bullet hit his metal. Of this, there's no mistake.
Objection!
But in that case, the bullet should have been found near the east side of the room. Are you trying to say that you can explain this inconsistency? Of course. I didn't think so. What? Oh, great Director Cosmos. Yes. Is there something you'd like me to expound upon? You were in fact not in the control room at the east, were you? You were looking into the lounge from the door to the south, is that not right? Oh, I thought he might go this way. Oh! What are you getting at? Use your own brain. Your head must have some other use than housing that bird's nest. How? Bird's nest? Why does everyone pick on my hair? Director Cosmos and the detective witnessed the scene from the southern door. The killer fired at them there, and that is why the bullet was found in the south. Ah, that makes some sense, actually. Also, the witness being at the southern door is rather favorable for the prosecution. Huh? I've got a bad feeling about this. How about it, Director? If you don't tell the truth this time. Yikes! His handcuffs. You will become but rust upon my sword. I relish the chance to cut down a great man. Alright, I'll tell the truth, just put your sword away. You are correct. I, the great Yuri Cosmos, was looking into the room from the southern door. What? That's the complete opposite of all the testimony he's given so far. And now you have lost your possibility that a third person was in the room. I have? How? The director and the detective were near the southern door, meaning the killer couldn't have escaped through there. The western door required print recognition. The corridor beyond was filled with smoke. The only escape route left was the eastern control room door. And the only way to get through there was with Director Cosmos' fingerprints. In short, there would be no escape for any third person had there been one. Gag! My third person just disappeared, like in one of Trucy's magic tricks. Please don't talk about people disappearing into your daughter's panties, Phoenix. Don't do that. Order? Order in the court. Director Cosmos, why did you tell such an outrageous lie? You were covering for the defendant, isn't that right? Yes. It was all for the love of my men. If I said I was in the Eastern Control Room, it would mean the culprit could have escaped through the southern door. It would have meant that there could have been a third person. All I wanted to do was protect Starbuck. I said I was in the control room to invent an escape route for a third person. What a convoluted lie. Was he really covering for the defendant? It looks like we've come to a conclusion. That the defense's argument, the possibility of a third person, has crumbled. No! It's over. Yikes. The judge is about to hand down his verdict. Think, Phoenix, think. This is the perfect time to try and turn my thinking around. If a third person had no way of escaping the scene, then what if one of the people at the scene was this third person? Oh man. Yeah, that could do it. Wait, what if the whole premise is all wrong? Director Cosmos said that he and Detective Arm rushed to the scene together. What if that premise isn't true? What if one of them reached the scene before the other one? And if that person entered the lounge, then they would be the third person. The defendant is the only one who could have killed the victim and shot at the director. There doesn't appear to be any room for argument against these claims. I will now render my verdict.
Objection!
Please wait, Your Honor. There is still one possibility. Oh, this had better be good, Mr. Wright. There is one and only one person who could have escaped from the scene. And that person would be the first person who arrived on the scene. Then, upon entering the boarding lounge, the second person to arrive came in via the southern door. That's why the first person fled from the room, using an escape route that was accessible only to them. Oh. He's saying that Director Cosmos could have escaped from the eastern door. Very well, let's hear more about this theory. Who is this one person who could have escaped from the boarding lounge? We just talked about this. There's one door in that room that can only open for one man.
Take that!
What? But that's... Mr. Wright, what are you claiming here? Of all the people who were at the scene, only the witness could have escaped. The director is the only one with the authority to open the control room door, after all. But that means... Exactly. The true identity of the third person is our current witness. Director Yuri Cosmos. Yeah. What? What? Oh, poor Athena. She's just along for the ride. Order? Order in the court, I say. Mr. Wright, you will explain yourself in more detail. I assert that Director Cosmos arrived at the scene before Detective Arm. and entered the boarding lounge alone. Detective Arm arrived after that and saw a suspicious figure who was actually Director Cosmos standing in the lounge. And that's why she fired those 2 warning shots.
God, I've been hit. I've been hit on the starboard side.
Captain Wright, it's a direct hit on the enemy ship, sir. A magnificent shot. I could get used to Captain Wright.
Warning shots fired from the enemy ship. Prepare to intercept.
Cosmos, you have told a lie in this court once again.
I've been hit. I've been hit on the port side. The enemy has called in reinforcements.
Earth to Cosmos Control Center, requesting permission to ask that you return to reality.
But my ship will not go down to anything less than the ultimate weapon of evidence.
Objection!
But I do have evidence. In fact, you could say that your battleship bears its scar. If Director Cosmos is the 3rd person Aura Blackquill saw, this 3rd person fired at Detective Arm and Director Cosmos with their gun, and in return the detective fired her warning shots. Isn't that how it really went down, Director Cosmos?
Haha, it looks like you've deduced my miraculous tale of survival. Yes, you're absolutely correct. The mystery person fired upon us.
Director Cosmos must have been the one who fired the 10 caliber gun. When Detective Arm discovered him in the lounge, it only makes sense that he would have turned and shot at her. Therefore, the evidence on the director's body is of a different kind of relevance than before. Once we compare it against another piece of evidence, the mark that you received from the 3rd party will be all of the proof that we need to prove that you were the one there in the lounge.
Brace for further impact.
Comparison against this piece of evidence will prove that you were the one in the lounge. Here we go. The bullet from Candace Arm's gun.
Take that!
The .38 caliber bullet found on the floor at the scene didn't hit the oxygen tank. It hit Director Cosmos's metal. If we have that ricochet mark on the metal analyzed, I'm sure the caliber will match up. And if that mark proves to be from a .38 caliber bullet, it will prove that you are the 3rd person we've been looking for.
Gah! The bridge is destroyed. Losing altitude, all hands abandon ship. If that's true, then what about the bullet that hit the oxygen tank?
It was the 10 caliber bullet. In other words, it was the bullet fired by Yuri Cosmos. Isn't that right, Director?
No, you've got it all wrong. What? The engines have started again? It's a miracle I'm not going down yet. Witness, stop this at once and confess the truth.
If you don't want the history books to say that a great man was a great liar, then accept your fate and tell the truth.
Are you giving me orders? Me, the great director of the Cosmos Space Center. But the cosmos revolves around me. Oh, someone get me off this thing. Order? Order in the court. And will someone please stop the witness from spinning? Oh, thank goodness we were able to stop him from spinning off the face of the earth.
While he was twirling, I took the liberty of running an analysis on the mark on the metal. It was made by a .38 caliber bullet, matching it with the size of Detective Arm's firearm.
Ah! Are you ready to confess the truth, witness? No, you've got it all wrong. This is just a misunderstanding.
Is he going to start piling on more lies? It looks like it. But no matter how many lies he tells, I'll just expose them one by one. I'll make that big liar tell the truth. To be continued. Wow. That's pretty fascinating. Huh. Maybe this whole case will end here. I don't know. It's starting to feel like it. And by here, I mean like 2 or 3 hours from now.
Director Cosmos, a new possibility has been presented by the defense. They are claiming that you were this third person. Ugh, forgive me. I'm so sorry.
So the great pioneer of space development is revealed to be just another fabulous cur. I only have one question for the likes of you. Shall I send you off quickly or very quickly?
Ah!
No, not the spinning again. The evidence doesn't lie, Director Cosmos, so don't try to talk your way out of this.
Fine, I'll tell the truth. It's all just as you say, Mr. Wright. It's all true that I was there in the boarding lounge. I got there before Detective Arm, and when she arrived, she fired warning shots at me. I was afraid people would mistake me for the killer, so I escaped to the control room. I then went past the elevator and all the way around to boarding lounge 1 again.
Wow.
I came up behind Detective Arm and pretended to be the second on the scene.
What a troublesome old man you are, with such convoluted deeds and thoughts.
I see. So then, are you still insisting that you did not kill the victim? Of course I am. When I arrived at the lounge alone, I saw the true killer. The great Yuri Cosmos was a history-making witness.
Hold it!
Huh? Now hold on just one moment. We just proved a few minutes ago that the third person Mr. Starbuck and Miss Ara Blackquill saw was you.
No, it wasn't me. I saw the person as well. If I were the killer, why would I lie to cover for Starbuck? I would just leave him to take the fall.
Huh. That is an excellent point.
All I wanted to do was protect Starbuck. I said I was in the control room to invent an escape route for a third person.
Well, it makes some sense if you told those lies to cover for Mr. Starbuck. Still, a lie's a lie, Athena. So Director Cosmos claims he's not the culprit. But where's the proof?
Ah, I just remembered. I have an alibi. Miss Blackquill said that she saw the killer at 10 a.m., correct?
Yes, and?
Well, I was on the 4th floor helping with the evacuation effort. Ask any member of the staff you'd like. They'll corroborate me.
The director is not fibbing to the court for once. I confirm that he has an alibi for the time specified. So, you're claiming that Miss Blackquill saw the killer commit the crime first at 10 a.m. And that you arrived at the lounge after that. Hold on. The security cam footage. There's no timestamp, is there? Yeah, I think I said this earlier, but the exact time has been conspicuously absent from the court record.
Yes, and I believe the person I saw is the same person that Miss Blackquill saw. Although it was pitch black, so it was more of a shadowy figure and less of a person. and I couldn't actually see their face, but it was definitely the silhouette of an Earthling.
Huh. As long as he has an alibi, we can't very well claim Director Cosmos was the killer. No, we can't. Then again, maybe we don't need to yet. I wonder if he was really covering for Mr. Starbuck. Your Honor, the defense moves to have the director testify about the person he saw.
Very well. Director Cosmos, your testimony, please.
What I really witnessed. Alright. Need to give my throat a little break. I tell ya, I like the voice I've given Cosmos, but boy, yeah, I'm starting to feel it. Ooh. Alright.
As I tried to enter the lounge, the true killer inside fired a gun at me. I hid to avoid getting shot. But when I tried to get another look, they had vanished into thin air. I was near the elevator side door and, well, the Launchpad 1 door. And the control room door should have been shut tight to the killer.
So you were shot at by the killer as well, and then they disappeared.
Yes, though luckily no harm came to my glorious body. Unfortunately, the bullet hit Terran's oxygen tank. I know because I heard a pang. That must have been the sound of the tank being ruptured.
Wait, but I thought the bullet hit his metal. That was Detective Arm's bullet, remember? Right. What a mess this is turning into. So, let's see. Director Cosmos is claiming that when he found Mr. Terran and his killer, the culprit shot a 10 caliber bullet at him. Right, but it actually hit Mr. Terran's oxygen tank and ruptured it. And then, the killer disappeared, and the director went into the boarding lounge. When Detective Arm caught up and fired those warning shots at him. Judging by his medal, it looks like one of them almost took him out, too. Good summary, but that doesn't explain where our mystery killer went. Director Cosmos, I was wondering if you could elaborate on when the figure disappeared.
I'm ashamed to admit I tried to hide myself when I was shot at, but when I peeped back into the lounge, the real killer was gone. I rushed into the lounge straight away to investigate, but what I found was Terran with a knife in his chest and Starbuck out cold on the floor.
So... Okay, hold on. What... So... Cosmos arrives at the scene. He's in the middle of the boarding lounge. Then Candace Arms arrives in the south door, fires warning shots at him. He takes a hit to the metal, then escapes out the east door to the control room. He runs south and loops around to come up behind Candace Arm, and it's at this point that he sees the third party. So, what the hell was Candace doing in this time where Cosmos was out of the room? She should have seen the third party appear and arrive. What was she doing? We can't ask her because she's dead. But this doesn't make sense. Huh.
So we have a culprit who vanished from a scene that had no escape route.
Well, you know what vanishes with a press of a button? A remote-controlled button? The holograms. If you're standing in the south doorway and you're looking north, you'd have an eye full of the holographic window with the holograms inside. Maybe this third person that Cosmos thought he saw was just a figure in the hologram that was fabricated. That makes sense to me. I think I might have just cracked it. Huh.
Vanished without a trace. It's truly like one of the great mysteries of the cosmos.
Silence.
A riddle of the ages indeed, but I'd rather know how a fibbing leech such as you can be lauded as great.
A great man is always misunderstood in his own time, but he must remain true to himself, even if those around him don't understand.
Wow, that might be the first true statement he said all day. But how do you suppose this person managed to vanish so suddenly?
Simple, because it was Spaceboy himself. When he was spotted by the director and Aura, he quickly feigned unconsciousness. That would certainly take all the mystery out of the idea of vanishing culprit.
Okay, well, Aura was looking through the window to the right of... If you're facing north, to the right of the holograms. If the timeline is right, that third person who was there and vanished couldn't have been in the holographic window then. Ah, crap. Oh, man, okay. I want to raise an objection, but I don't have any counter-evidence. Director Cosmos, when you saw this person, did you also see Mr. Starbuck on the floor?
No, because it was as dark as a black hole in there. I didn't see Starbuck until the other person vanished and I entered the room.
Huh. That wasn't exactly helpful.
I'm prepared to accept your surrender, right, Dono?
I can't find any holes in this testimony, but I can't give up. Mr. Wright, why don't you let me help? Huh? While the director was giving his testimony, I detected a cacophony of discord. Which means he's hiding his true feelings from us, huh? This just might help us find out what happened to our vanished killer. That'd be great, Athena. Let's see what you can do with him. You got it, boss. I wouldn't want to miss this chance to delve into a great mind. Yuri Cosmos, prepare to hand over the secrets of your heart to me. God, did you see that light, the hologram that emitted right then? It was a moon. It was like a moon changing phases. God, Athena's connection to the Space Center really was there the whole time. I mean, I saw the moon, but I was like, oh yeah, it's like her earring, the moon earring. God, her connection to the Space Center really was there the whole time. Anyway, as I tried to enter the lounge, the true killer inside fired a gun at me. Okay, being distressed and surprised I get. Angry is a bit curious. Would you be indignant that this person fired at you? Did you know who it was? Did you recognize them? I hid to avoid getting shot. But when I tried to get another look, they had vanished into thin air. No surprise whatsoever. Complete neutrality. I was near the elevator side door. And, well, the launch pad 1 door and the control room door should have been shut tight to the killer. Okay. Okay, more surprising to me is this. What's distressing you about the Launchpad 1 door?
Got it!
Correct me if I'm wrong, but you seem to be afraid of the Launchpad door.
The great Yuri Cosmos afraid? And what basis do you have for that outlandish accusation?
Whether I have any basis or not, you seem quite distressed by it.
I'm most certainly not.
Director Cosmos, there's something about the launch pad door you're not telling us, isn't there?
Yeah.
Wow, he's speechless. Looks like you hit the nail on the head, boss. It's working, boss. One more punch and it'll be a knockout. There seems to be one more emotion that's at odds with this testimony. Go get him. Okay, back in the Matrix it is. Time to pinpoint our way to victory. Okay, same testimony. Huh. Alright, yeah, this makes no sense. Why the hell would you not be surprised that they had vanished? The absence of an emotion screams at me.
Got it!
When we view your emotions alongside your testimony, we find the unexpected emotion. Wait a minute, there really isn't anything strange here. What? What? Oh, come on. I don't know, but I think maybe we made a mistake, Mr. Wright. I think maybe you're right. Let's take another look. Okay. It's gotta be anger at being shot at. Yeah, you know, I've never been shot at myself, thank God, but I would think that the anger would set in afterwards. It'd be mostly fight or flight. Oops. Talk about mixed feelings. You must be trying to account for a number of contradictions. Mr. Wright, maybe this time we shouldn't just look for contradictory emotions. We should also look for emotions that should be there, but aren't. Huh? Oh my god, I selected distressed, not surprised. Oh my god, okay. Okay. It had vanished.
Got it!
There we go. You must have thought it was very strange that the killer vanished into thin air.
I did. That kind of thing just doesn't happen usually.
And yet, at that time, you barely registered any shock at the occurrence.
What? Why are you? Ugh.
I can only think of one reason as to why you weren't surprised by the killer's vanishing act. You must have had a good idea of where they went, isn't that right?
What? No, of course not. That's preposterous. Only I can enter the control room. And the area beyond the launchpad door was filled with smoke, making it impassable.
What if the third person was a robot? They wouldn't mind the smoke.
And as for the southern door, I was standing right there. So there was nowhere for the killer to run to.
Maybe or maybe not. You went into the room to check on Mr. Starbuck and Mr. Terran, yes? What if the culprit took that opportunity to silently slip out through the southern door?
I highly doubt it. As you recall, right after I entered the lounge, Detective Arm came rushing towards it herself via the southern hallway. Anyone trying to escape through there would have been caught by her.
Unless she was the... And yet the director wasn't surprised the killer vanished. So you're absolutely sure there was no escape route for the culprit to use? I'll just input those 2 pieces of data and... Yes, just what I wanted to see. 70%, huh? Presto changeo, less discord. Looks like we're on the right track. Thanks, Athena. Now to make sense of what we've learned. Director Cosmos wasn't surprised that the culprit suddenly vanished from the lounge, which points to the possibility that he knew where the killer had escaped to. Furthermore, talking about the door to the launch pad made him uneasy. In other words, he's probably hiding something about the launch pad 1 door. When we put these two pieces together, only one solution to this puzzle comes to mind. Director Cosmos, did the real killer escape through here? It's gotta be this. There's no other way, right? Okay, who specifically has access to this? Only the Prince of Cosmos, Starbuck, and Terran are authorized to the west door leading to Launchpad 1. You wouldn't be surprised that someone escaped because you knew who could possibly enter it. You knew who this person was when you saw them standing there in the lounge. But the smoke wouldn't bother them because they were wearing a full-fledged astronaut suit. They were hooked up to an oxygen tank, weren't they? And if it was Terran's tank that was destroyed, that means the only person it could have been was Solomon Starbuck. His tank was in working order. He could have survived in the smoke as he went back to the Launchpad 1. But why would he do that? Oh. I think we're about to crack open a whole new can of worms.
Take that!
The culprit went through the Launchpad 1 door to escape, didn't they?
Yes. I mean, no. Disaster to starboard. We're going to crash into an asteroid.
A master tactician you are not. But the area beyond that door was filled with smoke, wasn't it? True, but this is still the only logical answer there is. If we can just figure out what the director is hiding about the Launchpad 1 door, we should be able to iron out the logical inconsistencies.
But that door requires fingerprint recognition. Only Starbuck, Terran, and I have access. I don't see how the killer could have opened the security lock. Do you?
That's an easy one. The killer was right there in the boarding lounge, meaning there's a way he could have easily gotten past that security lock. Come to think of it, we did examine the prints on the fingerprint recognition device. Oh, they used the body. I propose that the killer used this person's fingerprints to get past the security lock. Yeah, it was Starbuck, wasn't it?
Take that!
That's...
Mr. Starbuck was lying unconscious there in the boarding lounge. Anybody could have easily gotten past the security lock by using Mr. Starbuck's prints. And actually, Mr. Starbuck's prints are exactly what we found on the device's screen.
Ugh!
Looks like he does have something to hide about the Launchpad 1 door. And I'm betting it's got something to do with the culprit's escape route. But I don't have enough information to see the whole picture yet.
You know, something just occurred to me. Would you like to hear it?
Uh-huh. Oh, yes, by all means.
There's a security camera in boarding lounge 1.
Right, the one that recorded the victim and the defendant. What about it, Your Honor?
If the true culprit escaped into the Launchpad 1 corridor, then that might be recorded on the security footage as well.
There's a blackout. The footage ends.
Then the mystery would be solved. What do you think of my logic?
I hope you didn't strain your faculties too much for that, your baldness. How?
I beg your pardon?
Look, if we play the security footage beyond this point...
Oh my, the footage cuts off.
The camera was running on backup power, but apparently the power cables were damaged. Most likely by the after effects of the explosion. There is no footage after this, be it of criminals or space aliens.
And I thought it was such a good idea, too.
Just because your grandchild is watching from the gallery, it doesn't mean you should try to show off too much, Grandpa Baldness.
Aw, his family watches and attends his trials. Oh, that's nice. Aw, new lore. Aw.
Prosecutor Blackquill, how did you know about my grandchild?
I think his grandchild just learned a little about the harshness of the adult world. Setting aside the issue of grandchildren, I'd like to have the witness continue. Director Cosmos, could you tell us more about when you entered the lounge?
If I must.
I hid to avoid getting shot. After the killer vanished, I went into the lounge. But that's when Detective Arm appeared from the elevator side door. And then the detective shot at me. Yeah, that'd be distressing and surprising, but yeah, anger is a bit, yeah. So you see, the killer could have only escaped to the launch pad, right? Huh. I'm gonna give the anger here a shot. No. Huh. We saw this, but it's not letting me skip. Okay, maybe it's the huge amount of surprise? Why weren't you happy to see her? No, that was kind of a stretch. Thank God I can try this without failure. Okay, let's try the surprise here, actually. Oh, okay. Director Cosmos, why were you so surprised when Detective Arm found you, and again when she fired? Isn't that a bit unnatural?
Sadly, even great men such as myself have ordinary human feelings. Our bodies are bound by the forces of gravity and emotions. Even a great man such as myself experiences surprise on occasion.
Yes, I'm sure you do. But my real point, is not the fact that you were surprised, but rather what you were surprised by.
Pardon me?
First, you were surprised when Detective Arm found you in the lounge. And just after that, you were of course again surprised when she shot at you. But considering what you were surprised about, a strange phenomenon occurs here. Director Cosmos, what is strange about your surprised reaction is the fact that you were... You know what? Yeah, that's a good point. He was more surprised by the arrival of a person than being shot at by this person. That's bizarre. Sure, you were surprised when Detective Arm shot at you, but the surprise you felt when she found you in the lounge was much greater. The fact that you were more surprised by simply being found than by being shot at suggests to me that you were conflicted about whatever it was you were doing there.
The enemy has acquired a new weapon. Commence Operation Hide under your desk.
Ah! Please tell me I finally sunk his battleship. 30%, huh? Boss, I'm getting less Discord now. That must mean he really is hiding something about that launch pad door. And whatever he's hiding most likely has something to do with the killer's escape. I wonder what it could be. If he was doing something suspicious around that door, maybe we can spot some change between before he came to the room and after. Detective Fulbright gave us a photo taken after the crime. Let's run a comparison. Let's see. This is footage of the door before Director Cosmos arrived. And this is how the door looked after the director entered the lounge. Oh, that's it. That's it. He's the man who flipped the switch. There is a change. Something's definitely different. Director Cosmos?
What is it? What have you two been up to over there?
Finding the answer to what you were doing when Detective Arm found you, that's what. And that answer lies clearly in this footage. All we have to do is compare it to the photo that was taken during the investigation.
Don't be ridiculous. If you really do have an answer, you'd have pointed it out already.
He's asking for it. This is what changed directly after the incident. Bam! The answer is this knob.
Yeah, that's...
Your Honor, please take a look at this footage.
Let's see.
Take a look at the knob next to the launch pad door. As you can see, it's horizontal.
Yes, it is, isn't it?
However, when we investigated the scene of the crime yesterday, the knob was vertical.
And what does that mean?
It means that sometime between before the director arrived and after, someone turned this knob. After the scene was discovered, you were the only one who could have turned the knob. Come on now, Director Cosmos. Let's hear what you have to say. What were you trying to do by turning that knob by the door?
Fine, I admit it. You're right, I did turn that knob. That knob is a safety lock meant to keep the launch pad in place. I was afraid there would be more explosions, so I wanted to move the launch pad away.
You wanted to do what? Hey, didn't Ponko tell us something about how they prepare for launch? She said that once the launch pad's fully assembled, it's moved to the launch site. But the safety lock in the boarding lounge has to be disengaged first. I guess that clears up what that knob is for. Oh, so if the killer escaped into the Launchpad 1 corridor, maybe they were transported along with the Launchpad to the launch site. I don't think so. The Launchpad 1 corridor was filled with smoke. I don't think they could have escaped through that corridor. So then, where did the killer escape to? Huh. I guess there are still some things we have to uncover. Director Cosmos, I request that you tell us about moving the launch pad in more detail.
Fine, but listen carefully, for I'm about to give history-making testimony.
Oh, still not done? Alright. I had no choice but to disengage the safety lock. Why would you be happy about that? I fear there might be more explosions. Okay, that's genuine. So I had to cut the launch pad loose. That's genuine. Surely the only escape the killer had was through launch pad 1. Why would you be angry about that? That area was a sea of smoke. Confound it, where on earth could they have gone? Alright. That seems genuine. Alright. The only escape the killer had was through launch pad 1. Why would you be angry about that fact? Yeah, I guess we're going a bit long today. Oh, my voice. My throat. Ugh.
Got it!
Oh? No? Really? Alright. Well, maybe it is the happiness at the very start then. We'll try that. For the love of God, let me skip. I've seen this so many times. Okay, you had no choice but to disengage the safety lock. Why would that make you happy?
Got it!
I had no choice but to disengage the safety lock. You make it sound like you were reluctant to do so. And yet, when you did it, you felt some joy, as if you were very pleased with yourself.
Ugh. How do you do it? How do you know everything as if you were there?
Pretty impressive, isn't it? This is the power of an analytical psychology. So, care to explain why you felt joy when you disengaged the safety lock? When I think back on the facts we've discovered up to this point, I have to believe that you were trying to fulfill some hidden agenda.
How do you know about that too?
Because I'm more or less a pro at guessing.
But you have no proof that I had a hidden agenda. And even if I did, I would never ever tell you, so there.
I know they say people regress as they grow older, but you, sir, take the cake.
And how could you doubt a man with such great intensity, intelligence, and integrity?
Silence!
You, a man of integrity. Don't make me laugh. Prosecutor Blackwell? What came over him all of a sudden? You've spouted nothing but falsity since you stepped up to the stand. You're not the kind of man that will be glorified in the annals of history. Not for greatness, anyway. Unless you consider greatest barefaced liar an honor.
Liar!
Gulp. His words bite harder than his blade. You moved Launchpad 1 after the explosions. My, how naive you are. You fail to realize how even the facts themselves have betrayed you. You know, just a thought, but modern English can be your friend. And here's a thought for you. Immediately following the bombing, Launchpad 1 was on the boarding lounge 1 side. The police confirmed this on scene. What?
Liar!
So that means the director didn't move the launch pad? No, it means I came out of Launchpad 2 earlier. Curse my judgment for calling history's greatest liar to the witness stand. Let us leave him to indulge in his lies and war games to his heart's content.
Objection!
But that doesn't make sense. You can't deny that someone turned that knob. And once the safety lock was released, I'm sure the pad must have went somewhere. If we chase down the truth of this issue, we just might find out where the killer escaped to. Ah! You're sure it must have went somewhere? We just might find out. Your arguments are nothing but conjecture, bluffing and wishful thinking.
Stop chasing your fantasies and see reality for what it really is. Or are you not man enough to, boy?
Gag. Talk about hitting below the belt. Alright. I need to make an executive decision. I'm very tired and very hungry. I need to go get some food and rest my poor throat. Oh. But yeah, I think I know where this is about to go. We're gonna finally point out that symbol on the floor behind the elbow in the security footage. Solomon Starbuck and Clay Terran were walking out of Launchpad 2, the museum. It all lines up. The timeline lines up for sure. Oh, God. But that raises so many more questions. But my brain is fried. Well, it's not really a smart idea to do a recording session first thing when you wake up, is it? Lesson learned, I need to get some breakfast first. Anywho, I usually love to talk a bit about what I've thought, but no, I'm just tired. I'm Zephyr the Jester. This has been more Dual Destinies. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll catch you next time. So until then, please take care.